What is up, everybody? This is Modern Randy. I am Randy, and today we're bringing you another deck here for Standard to get ready for your Standard RCQ season. As always, guys, if you like what I'm doing and you like what you're seeing, go ahead and leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you guys plan to take to your next RCQ for Standard and what you think Foundation is going to do to the format as a whole. Getting into it today, though, we are talking about this Orzhov Midrange deck. This deck hasn't put up like a super lot of numbers, but it doesn't seem to want to go away. It keeps putting up consistent numbers every weekend. So I kind of just wanted to talk about it because it is a different take on a mid-range strategy than we've seen recently with like the Demir mid-range and the Guardian mid-range and such. So we are playing 4 Restless Fortresses. We're also playing 3 Fountain Port and 2 Demolition Field as like our utility land. Kind of interesting to see this land actually see play. Kind of excited to see, all the main lands starting to see a little bit more play as a whole. We're also playing 2 Dresses and 1 Dreams of Steel and Oil here in the main as our, interaction package on turn 1 to kind of disrupt what our opponent's doing. And then we're running 2 Anoint with Affliction, 3 Go for the Throat, 3 Cut Down, 1 Virtue of Persistence, 2 Legions to Ashes, and 4 Temporary Lockdown as our removal suite of choice. We are here to make sure creatures die. We want no creatures. None. Opponents can't have nothing. Then we're also playing 3 Liliana the Veil to help, take out our opponent's resources, make them, kind of stay on that 1-for-1 plane where we're kicking out what they have in their hand. Our creature suite here is the Preacher. As a 4 of, we're playing 2 Children of the Apocalypse and then 4 Archfiend of the Dross because we're also running 4 of the Unholy Annex as a way to pull ahead. So it kind of has like that little demon package going on with it as well. So you're able to pull ahead with your opponent, and you're gonna keep 1-for-1 with Liliana. You're gonna have Unholy Annex to make sure that you're staying ahead on cards while they're not. Just a whole little like value black white deck essentially is what this is. This is a value black white deck to where we want to kill all our opponent's creatures. We want to make sure they're hellbent so they have no cards in hand, and then we're going to beat them down with a 6/6 flyer while also drawing an extra card to return. And that's our game plan. It's very simple, straightforward game plan as a whole, and it's a good deck overall. I think this deck kind of does what it wants to, what you want to do. You're interacting on the early turns, with the cut downs, the go for the throats, that type of thing. So you stop the aggro oppression, you stop all the little creatures. We have temporary lockdown in case they overwhelm us by any stretch of the imagination. And then we just have Preacher, Shieldred, Archfiend as our creatures that are all hard to remove, 2/4, 4/5, 6/6, all big butts, big hard creatures to remove as a whole. They block really efficiently. Preacher just says that you get value when it attacks. It's a little ridiculous. And like I said, we have the Unholy Annex, or I said anointed, Unholy Annex as a way to just stay ahead of our opponent with our card advantage. We want to go 1-for-1, 1-for-1, 1-for-1 until we have the Unholy Annex, and then we want to continuously be ahead on cards. And it's just a straightforward value mid-range deck. There's not really too much flash or flair with this deck at all, but it is something I think is actually really well positioned right now with what it's doing. I think Temporary Lockdown is a really well placed card. As it stands right now, we have like the Demir mid-range deck running around, which is a bunch of little creatures, sweeps up those nicely. We obviously have the aggro decks running around, with this, wonderful Heartfire hero running around constantly. Temporary Lockdown seems really well positioned there. And then we're just playing a bunch of good removal threats against anything that's a little bit bigger than a 2-drop. So it makes perfect sense to me why this deck is kind of starting to put up some numbers and doing at least halfway decent. And then our sideboard makes more sense as well with the fact that we're just more things to do. We have Rest in Peace against any of the graveyard shenanigans going around. We have 2 more Dreams of Steel and Oil, the third dress. And then we also have Cool Calls, High Assist. We are interacting with our opponent. We're making sure they don't have anything of value in their hand. We have a way to get rid of any kind of artifacts or enchantments with our exercise. We have 2 more Legions of Ashes because we want to make sure creatures do not stay. Also, it just hits, non-land permanents as well. So, permadeath permanents as well. Things like that makes perfect sense. Then we have Kaya as well as another Shieldred as our, game plan against the mid-range decks, or the decks we're planning to go long and grind against essentially. Kaya here really because she has hexproof, she's super hard to remove, 6 loyalty starting off with, and then you're going to keep draining and gaining, essentially the entire time, just being able to be able to drain and gain, or we get to draw 2 cards. So like we're either pulling ahead on card advantage or killing them slowly, which is kind of the whole purpose of this deck. This makes sense. So overall, this deck seems really well positioned, I think. Moving forward, is definitely something I think is going to start seeing a little bit more popularity play. I could be wrong, though, but I think this deck has started to do well and is putting up numbers. There's at least a little bit of a cult following for this deck as a whole. And I mean, you can't go wrong with Unholy Annex. We've seen this card do well at the Magic Worlds 30, and I think this card is going to continue to do well into the standard format. But as always, guys, if you like what you're seeing, you like what I'm doing, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel to keep up with everything that I'm doing, and let me know how you think Foundations is going to do here coming out and how it's going to shake up this standard format.